Today we're going to talk about exactly how to get an ex back that pushed you away. So one of the first things that I did when I was preparing this video was really figuring out what the real reasons are that men or even women tend to push their significant others away. And the best place to go to find this out is to the horse's mouth. So I went to our private Facebook support group and asked people who had been in relationships who had broken up with their exes, why did you push your ex away? Why did you break up with them? And we got a lot of different answers, but what's interesting is when we looked through these answers, there was kind of a common theme that developed. So here are the answers that we got. They cried too much. They fought too much. They were too clingy. They were too controlling. They were too negative, or they were asking for too much or moving too fast. So all in all, when we looked at the answers that were given to us by real life people, we kind of realized that a lot of the types of behavior, like being too clingy, being too controlling, being so negative, constantly asking for reassurance, fighting too much, crying too much, moving too fast, are all examples of anxious type of behaviors. So the first thing that you really need to do when you're dealing with a situation where you believe your ex has pushed you away is first understand why they pushed you away. And we think that it's because of anxious tendencies. Now, this seems to track with what we've learned a lot recently about attachment styles. So this is kind of the new hot buzzword around ex-boyfriend recovery, though it's been with us for a long time. We've just been studying attachment styles a lot recently. In fact, you can look at probably my last 10 videos, and in each one I've talked about the importance of understanding attachment styles. And what's interesting about attachment styles is we found that most of our clients tend to exhibit anxious type of attachment styles, and most of their exes tend to be avoidants. We'll talk about the avoidance in a little bit, but first let's talk about what anxious attachment styles are. Simply put, someone who has an anxious attachment style is going to put almost their entire identity into a relationship. They'll constantly ask their significant other for reassurance, and they're the ones who are most likely to blow their ex's phone up, beg, plead after a breakup. They're the ones who will do seemingly ridiculous, crazy behavior like showing up at your ex's work unannounced or sending your ex gifts, trying to think that that's going to be the thing that cures the relationship. In turn, all that ends up doing is reinforcing the beliefs that they already have about you, which is that you're a very anxious and insecure individual. So one of the smartest things that you can do for yourself is try to shift your anxious type of tendencies into more secure tendencies. And you can really only do that one specific way, and that really requires time. This is one of the reasons that we really love the no contact rule, because while a lot of people think it is a manipulative strategy to get an ex to react a way that you want them to react, we try to take the focus off of the ex and onto yourself. So if you want my advice about maybe the one singular adjective I could give you on how you could be using your time during no contact to help not push an ex away, it would be to focus your time on outgrowing your ex. A lot of times when people go through breakups, they believe that their ex is their number one priority, and that is the wrong way to approach it. You need to have more priorities in your life that you care about just as much as you care about your ex. And while you may be watching this video and rolling your eyes and thinking, that is impossible, there's no way I could do that, I loved my ex so much, that is the difference between people who succeed and people who fail through our program. Of course, it's not all about identifying the reason that your ex pushed you away and changing or shifting your anxious tendencies into more secure tendencies. It's not all about the no contact rule. It's also about understanding the real reason exes come back. And that is when you have created enough nostalgia for them to want to come back. Coach Anna and I recently did a few weeks ago a really interesting podcast episode interview where for 45 minutes straight we simply talked about why exes are hardwired to care about you. And she said something that I think is brilliant, and I'm just going to paraphrase her here word for word. So Coach Anna says that there's a complex physiology associated with romantic attachments that stays with us for most of our lives. Even after we resolve a romantic relationship, we have a remarkable ability to forget the bad parts and focus on the good ones. Most people have a lost love that they wonder about, like someone who held your hand through really important moments that helped define you. This is nostalgia, and these feelings of nostalgia are very common. People benefit from a state that they refer to as nostalgic reverie. They reminisce about the past at some point in the day, sometimes several times a week, even on average. Almost no one reminisces just once a month or something like that. It's possible that we think about the past because it's good for our well-being. Apparently, nostalgic reverie can boost our mood, our feelings, our self-esteem, and even our identity. You can technically promote nostalgic reverie by exposing people to websites that promote feelings of connection to past lovers. So we believe that nostalgic reverie is the key to getting an ex back that pushed you away. But it's not just about identifying the right time to contact your ex. While they're going through this nostalgic reverie, oftentimes it's impossible to do that. The smartest thing you can do is to take stock of why your ex pushed you away. Generally speaking, it's going to be some type of anxious behavior that turned them off and made them think, hey, there's someone else out there that's better for me. The next step usually is going through some period of no contact where you're focusing on your anxious tendencies and trying to build your confidence up so that you're feeling a lot more secure. But where does this nostalgic reverie come into play? Well, like Coach Anna said, they've done studies and found that sometimes they're able to create this nostalgic reverie by showing people romantic types of websites that remind them of the past. And we live in a day and age where it's almost very easy to do your own little litmus test of this in your own life with your own ex through social media. Why do you think we always talk about the importance of social media during a no contact rule? Because if you really think about it, if you're doing a no contact rule, your only way of technically indirectly contacting an ex is by posting something on social media. Now, you're not supposed to be obvious about it. You're not supposed to post something and say, hey, this is for you, ex. What you're supposed to do is show them what they're missing out on, and sometimes those could be the missed opportunities that create that nostalgic reverie. I'll give you an example. Let's say that your ex always wanted to go to Hawaii. Who wouldn't? It's a great, beautiful place of islands. I've only been there a couple times, but it's fantastic, right? So let's say that you and your ex, throughout your relationship, you had this running joke that you were going to go to Hawaii together. And let's say that on a whim, you decide, you know what, I'm gonna just take a trip for myself and I'm going to Hawaii alone with a girlfriend or something like that. And you post pictures of you just having a great time in Hawaii. Now, your ex is obviously going to be, number one, jealous the second they see these posts on Facebook or Instagram, but number two, it could bring up that nostalgic reverie because instead of thinking about all of the bad parts of the relationship, they'll think about that one really good part that kind of creates a good feeling within them and leaves them feeling regretful. And at that point, when you've done that enough times to create that nostalgic reverie within them, that's when you're supposed to contact them. So a lot of the work that we teach during the no contact rule is all about doing two things. Helping you shift so that you're a more confident, secure individual than you were when you went into the no contact rule, and doing your best to ignite nostalgic reverie within your ex so that when you do reach out to them and start the reattraction phase, things go a lot easier than not. All right, so if you're still confused about where you should be starting or if you should be trying to get your ex back, we have a special quiz that we've designed on our website, www.exboyfriendrecovery.com, where we basically tell you what kind of chance you have of getting your ex back, so you know whether or not you're gonna be wasting your time. Now, if you're interested in taking that free 2-minute quiz, all you have to do if you're watching this on YouTube is simply look in the description below this YouTube video and click the blue link you see there. It will take you directly to the page where you can fill it out, get an idea of what your chances are, and sort of understand things going forward. Also, if you have a lot of questions about this nostalgic reverie or secure attachment style or anxious attachment style or even avoidant attachment style, leave a comment below and we will do our very best to get back to you. Also, if you could like this video and subscribe to our YouTube channel, I would be eternally grateful. Thank you so much. I'll see you next time.